Good morning and welcome to Go Figure Customs Presents Holiday Special. It's Christmas morning and of course Santa came last night. And what did Santa bring? Santa brought the JoyToy Blue Falcon figure. So we're going to do a quick review on that. It's another one of the deluxe figures. It was one of the first ones that came out. I believe it's part of the Coldplay video game series. I don't know anything about that. On the box, it says it's the U.S. Army Airborne Division Blue Falcon, and it is one of the nice window boxes. So we open the outer part there. Nice photo artwork there, and then the figure in the photo box. And you can see the figure comes with an interchangeable head, which I like interchangeable heads as much as the next guy. I think it's one of the things that really helps expand a figure. However, as a helmet, I'm not too keen on it. Removable helmets have been a thing for probably decent removable helmets of this style have been around for a significant amount of time. I mean, even the original G.I. Joe guys came with removable helmets. So I do like interchangeable heads for character development, not development, but differentiation. I'm not keen on a interchangeable helmet for a head. We got the vest, some joints, extra hands, the non-silenced Chris gun, the breaching shotgun, one of the entrenching tools, pistol, extra hands, and the full pads, and what is that there? I think those are the knee pads, and the belt, and the thigh pad, one of the thigh pads there. Just the logo and the name of the figure on the back. Or on the side rather, on the back, a couple pictures of him with the interchangeable head and all geared up. The usual writing on the back. And then a picture on the side. Top is the logo, bottom is the logo. I think it's an interesting choice on the name. They've tried to come up with something unique and interesting, but unfortunately the Blue Falcon has a bit of a history. Number one, it's a name of a old Hanna-Barbera cartoon from the 80s, I believe, early 80s. I remember watching that when I was a kid, really liking that. Blue Falcon with Dino Mutt, if I'm not mistaken. And it also is military slang. I'm gonna let you Google that one and figure that one out for yourself, but it's not polite. So let's do an unboxing here. Yeah, I'm still in my Christmas pajamas here because we just got up to unwrap presents. There we go, we got that plastic off the top. It looks like there was an axe in there too, one of the tactical axes that I missed. So all of it looks really nice. Let's get the figure out there and see how he looks. I like that it says destroy on the back of his uniform. I'm not heating these up anymore per my previous recommendation. I'm just going to see if I can brace this really quick here. That'll work. There we go. So yeah, I'm not heating these up anymore. Just doing gentle manipulation with the joints to break factory seals. Not seals so much as the sealant on the figures. The ones I would really be careful with are the wrist joints, because that's just a tiny little peg in there. The left wrist is pretty loose, the right one is kind of tight. Bend both knee joints on both legs, move the ankles, and toe joints, which are pretty cool. Never seen toe joints on figures this small before, except for this line. And then, oh, popped right off there. So one of the things when I had been heating these figures up is this joint in particular will expand and will become too loose for the figure. So one of the things that I did last night with my previous JoyToy figures that I did heat up, which probably didn't need it in retrospect, was I put a dab, heavy dab of clear nail polish in there and let it dry, and then popped it back on. And the clear nail polish will fill up that excess space, and will turn that joint into basically brand new. One of the problems that I've had with some of these JoyToy figures is the necks tend to be a bit loose, so I put a little bit of clear nail polish in the because it's a double jointed neck, which is pretty cool. The head and neck joint is really good on this one, but the neck and torso tends to be a lot loose on a lot of these figures. So a little dab of clear nail polish in the bottom of the neck, and it will alleviate your problems pretty quickly. Alright, so then he's got his vest. I do, like I have said in recent reviews, I do heat up the vests and to get them pegged, and then I've been gluing the vests on. I don't really don't need the vests to be removable. I think it's a nice play feature, and I like the fact that you can interchange the vests with any figure, but I just don't need that. It's not something that I need. So I just glue the vests on. Another belt. So pop him off his torso. Belt just slides right on. On a couple of my figures, on my custom specifically that I'm working on, the JoyToy custom that I'm working on, I've glued the belt in place as well, so it just stays, it doesn't come off the hips when you're playing with it. To me, there's just, once it's on there, it really just doesn't need to come off again, and having it move up and down or round and round is just kind of irritating to me. I really like the sculpt of these helmets. I believe these are the ones that come with the special group set. That's the letter E set. Has that really futuristic military look to it. I'm a big fan of military sci-fi stuff, so I will probably leave him with that helmet on. I really like the looks of this figure. Blue's kind of my favorite color, so military science fiction. I really like the color scheme of this figure, the blue, the black, the coloration of the vest, the pouches on it. One thing that I'm not particularly keen on is the white on the guns, but that's a small price to pay because he's got what looks like a Glock with I think they're all Glocks. Some of these don't fit too well in the holsters. And then the Chris guns. I like the looks of them. I think they're really cool looking guns. But, you know, I still think I'm probably going to get Marauder Task Force guns, Marauder Inc. guns for these guys. At some point in time, I'm going to put in a big order, get everybody new weapons. And then the breaching shotgun. I actually do like the breaching shotgun. But the white on it, I'm not too keen on the white on the guns. It's not a deal breaker though. And it can peg into the little clip on the back. When you heat up these vests, I've had these clips just come right off. They're just glued on. Actually, even not heating up the vest, I've had a couple of these clips come off. It's an easy fix. I just sand it down to take off the factory glue on the back of this, and then the vest where it attaches, just a little bit of sandpaper to take off the remnants of the factory glue, and then just some super glue and super glue accelerator on there. Again, I've mentioned this in customizing forums when people ask recommendations on glue. It's not so much the glue in my experience. I'm sure there are better glues out there than what I use, but it's the super glue accelerator. Number one, it does what it says it does. It accelerates it. I remember when I first started customizing it, I would have to hold something on for like 2-3 minutes just to make sure the glue dried, and then if it didn't set up right and it fell off, then there's 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes wasted on something. It became very frustrating. So number one, it does accelerate it like it says, but I've also experienced that super glue tends to become brittle over time. So a lot of my older figures, anything that I glued on, they had started popping off, kind of falling off. You pry it off real easy. The super glue accelerator strengthens the glue as well, gets it to dry a lot harder on top of faster. So it, to me, even using just cheap super glue, I get 4 packs, 4 little tubes of it for like $1.50 at Lowe's, and that lasts me a long time. But the super glue accelerator is what makes the big difference. I don't even think the glue is as important. And I've seen a lot of people using some fancy glues out there, and I haven't tried them, to be honest, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the thigh pads, I'll heat these up and get these on there. Arm pads probably will go on without needing to be heated up. I don't think he comes with wrist pads, wrist or elbow guards. We got some extra joints there. I know I said in my initial video review of these figures that I was always kind of worried about figures that come with extra joints. That's the kind of a bad harbinger. But you know what? Aside from that one figure in the first Marine set, I've not had any joints go bad on any of these figures since. So yeah, those arm pads will go on right. Will go on real easy. Once you get that arm pad on there, though, it doesn't sit flush with the chest anymore, which is kind of a downside to this, but again, not a deal breaker for me. If you wanted to fix that and didn't want to remove the pads again, one of the things I would recommend is just trimming that off and then just gluing it on in place, and then it will sit flush with the figure again. So the 4 main things that I review with a new figure, of course, number one is packaging. Packaging for this thing's fantastic. I love these window boxes. I'm tempted to keep one of these boxes in the plastic insert and use it for a custom box set for one of my own figures at some point in time. Other than the fact that it's very specific on what I can put in the little plastic tray, so that kind of limits what I can do with a custom. But it's really expensive to print out stuff for these box sets. I don't do my own printing, so it becomes problematic. So I would like to keep one of these boxes for one of my own custom box sets, but I probably won't. But the packaging's beautiful. I won't keep it though. I am going to keep the box from the SEAL Team set just because it's the SEALs. But if you wanted to keep these mint on in box, they're going to look nice on a shelf. There's probably about there's more than I know there's 3 in this wave, and then the 2, the Paladin and the CIA guy. So there's like 5, maybe 6 of these deluxe premium figures that come in these window boxes that look really nice. 2 main reasons to keep your figure mint in box is, number 1, because you really like the packaging and you like how it looks and you like to display your stuff. And it's really, I think, sometimes easier to display mint in box stuff on shelves than it is a handful of loose stuff if you don't have a decent way to display it. It also makes it a lot easier to store it, and then you don't lose your figure's accessories either. The other reason to keep something mint in box, of course, is value. Anything that's mint in box tends to historically be more valuable on the secondary market. So then that brings us to just speculation on, are these going to be more valuable in the future? I've seen people saying that these aren't going to go up in value at all. And who knows? I mean, it really is just gambling. My opinion on that is that these probably will go up in value, simply because JoyToy is making more and more figures. They've already posted on their Facebook group of all the stuff they've coming out, not all of the stuff, but a lot of the stuff they've got coming out in the first part of 2020. And they're just pumping these figures out, and they look beautiful. The stuff that they've got coming out looks fantastic, and I just can't wait for some of the stuff that's going to be coming out. So as more and more stuff comes out, people are more inclined to start picking some of this stuff up. And once you get one of these things and you realize that the quality is there and that these are fun figures, then you kind of want to go back and get the stuff that you missed already. Well, that's where your speculation on the secondary market comes into play, especially with low batch stuff like this, low production batches. You know, these are not being made in the quantity that like Hasbro would be making G.I. Joe or Transformers or Star Wars figures in. So there's not as many out there. So collectors already have these. They've already taken them out of the box. A lot of us have already customized these, so that decreases the availability just to begin with. So then there's a limited amount in the production run, obviously, on top to begin with, even before that. So then that leaves a limited amount that people have kept mint in box. That's going to increase the price. And that's historically true pretty much with any, I won't say any action figure or toy, but more often than not, let's put it that way. And just kind of as an example for this kind of, I'm going to call it esoteric, because this is not really mainstream like Hasbro or Mattel toys would be. So it's kind of, you know, it's coming from a Far East market into the United States. So some of this stuff's hard to get, it's expensive to get. One of the things that is a good example of it was expensive to get to begin with. Not a lot of people got it because they didn't have the money for it. They were afraid to spend the money on it, and then regretted it later because a few of us did get stuff and did find out it was fantastic toys, really enjoyable to play with, fun to customize, and just awesome in general, is the Votoms Scope Dogs. Google image Votoms, VOTOMS, or just Google image Scope Dog, all one word. These are mechs, and there is a line of these that is in 1/18 scale. I have 3 of the different ones in 1/18 scale, and then there was one that was in 1/12 scale. I think it's a little small for 1/12 scale. It's a bit big for 1/18, but it works well in 1/18. I've tried to customize these, and I've just never finished a paint job on one yet. I'm hoping to, once I get my new airbrush, to sit down and really do something nice with these mechs. But that is definitely one of the things that, if you look on eBay, they're just insanely expensive now. we're talking $300, $400, maybe $500 for one of these mechs that was $150 maybe, I think, to begin with. So I think my opinion is my speculation, and I'm wrong more often than I'm right when it comes to toy speculation, so take that with a grain of salt, is that these will probably go up in value if you keep them mint in box. So, that's up to you. The second thing that I like to review, of course, is playability. These are fantastically playable figures. I think that the quality is where it needs to be for the joints. Like I said, this is probably, I'm rapidly approaching my 50th JoyToy figure. And aside from the one joint that was bad on that first Marine set, I've not had a problem. And as a note on that, they have reissued that set. So I'm curious, I'm contemplating getting a set of the reissues to see if the joints have been improved from the first run. Those are the ones with the woodland camouflage, and they're beautiful figures. So I might pick up a second set of those, not only to see if they've improved the quality, but I really like those figures, the paint job on those figures. So they're kind of they're to me they're more SEAL teamish than they are Marines. So I would pick them up as a SEAL team set. Of course, all the gear is interchangeable and removable. I tend not to do that. I like the gear that comes with the figures stays with my figures, and once I get it on there, it doesn't come off again. But it doesn't have to be that way. All of this gear, it's the same buck, right? And that goes for the gear. It's the same gear buck, so it's cross-compatible as far as I'm concerned. You can put any gear on any figure and it will work. It will fit. So it doesn't really matter. I like the trenching tool as an aside. I've never had a folding and trenching tool before. I think that's pretty cool. Clip it into his back there. So that's the second thing that I like to review. The third is customizability. I think I kind of just hit that with the fact that you can interchange the gear on this. So you can do kit bash, so non-painting, non-heavy modification customs by just swapping gear around. But with these figures, I think they're highly customizable. They're the same quality as Boss Fight and Marauder Task Force at this point. So are they worth customizing? Absolutely. I'm doing a figure for a painting tutorial. I'm using one of these, and it's almost done. I just have a few things that I need to finish for the video. So I'm really looking forward to see how a custom of one of these figures turns out. And that brings me to the next point, which is the price. On this was, I think this one was, let me look at that real quick. On this, I got this off of Amazon. The JoyToy has a store on Amazon, and it was free 2-day shipping. So, and it was, let's see here. It was basically the same price as it would be anywhere else. And the deluxe figure is $49.99 or $44.99. I'm sorry. That is kind of pricey for one figure, I think. The fact that it is one of the deluxe figures, so it was in a set of 3, in a wave of 3. It wasn't a set of 3. It was a wave of 3. The South African guy with the bright yellow pants, and then what was the other one? It was, I think he was supposed to be a Marine as well, but he had like maroon and tan, which I did not like that color scheme. but I think these are from the video game, so that's probably why they were colored that way. Yeah, the maroon. The maroon figure is also $44.99 on Amazon. The South African guy with the yellow pants is $39.99. So apparently those aren't selling as well as the other two are, which is not really any surprise. Although the South African guy with the yellow pants looks like he has a bare chest and tattoos on his bare arms, which is actually kind of cool, but not enough for me to get it. So the price point on these, it's a little steep for one figure. I'd had passed on this multiple times just due to the price point. But being Christmas, had a little extra money, I decided to go ahead and get it. I'm not sorry I did. I really like this figure. I really like the color scheme. I really like the sci-fi, military sci-fi aspect to it. So he's gonna get some new weapons and happily join the rest of my JoyToy figures. So packaging, A+, absolutely great packaging. Playability, top notch. The joints are, the quality is there. It's very playable. Again, not for smaller kids. I'd still worry about really rough play with these, but I've been playing with these with my other figures for the last couple days. And again, like I said, aside from that one Marine that had that bad arm, I have not had any problems since. And I have not been heating up my figures, aside from the pouches to get them on the legs or the arms. Customizability, absolutely. These things are, I think are going to be phenomenal for customs. That was not my original opinion, but I've changed that after having a bunch of these figures. And the more I think about it, I don't think I've seen a lot of people using these for customs, just because they are fantastic figures straight out of the box. A lot of people are doing just phenomenal toy photography with these things, just because they are nice figures, nice looking figures right out of the box. You really just don't need to customize these things. And I think that's one of the things that I absolutely love about this line is this is the type of figure that I make customs of. This is, historically, this type of figure, these realistic military figures have traditionally been 1/6 scale. The 12-inch figures. Hot Toys made a ton of phenomenal 1/6 scale realistic military figures, and that's what I started basing my realistic military customs off of, was the Hot Toys figures. So to actually get something like this that comes out of the box really nice, that I don't have to customize, that is in, I mean, it's like getting one of my customs straight out of the box. I don't have to customize this because it's like, I want a SEAL team. Okay, here's a nice set of figures that looks like a SEAL team. I don't have to do anything to this other than maybe give them some new guns that I, if I want to get them some different weapons. So do they even need to be customized? I don't know that I will customize a lot of these just because I love how they are straight out of the box. This is the toy line that I've always wanted, quite honestly. And then the price. The price for the deluxe figures is pretty steep, I got to admit. They've got a couple females coming out. I'm probably going to get one of those. There's a couple of females that are out. They're not in as nice box, so they're not as expensive. And I did get one or two of those. I should probably review those too. But the deluxe figures are kind of pricey for what they are. I don't know that the extra money is worth the packaging, because I just I'm not keeping them in the box. However, to continue on that price point thing, using the SEAL team as an example because those were, I think, I've spent right about $80 for those. There were 6 figures, making them about $15.50 a figure, which sounds really expensive. I was in the grocery store the other night and came across the Fortnite figures, which are all the rage right now. And I don't understand Fortnite. I don't care to understand Fortnite. I did buy one Fortnite figure for a custom, and I've got a buddy of mine, Jimbo, that just absolutely loves these things. So he's pretty much talked me into getting one of these to just see how it is. One of the armored figures, Carbide, I think was the name of the figure. And it's a nice figure, but the figure in the grocery store the other night, $15.50. The same price, once you break it down per figure, of the JoyToy figures. So that whole argument of these are expensive, it's, yeah, you're spending a lot of money for a set of these things and you can't buy them one at a time, so it's all at one time. But when you break it down, it is almost penny for penny the same price as a Fortnite figure in the store. Yeah, sure, you can get some of the older figures cheaper on Amazon. I think I paid like $7 for the Carbide figure, so that, yeah, that argument doesn't exactly hold water either. But when I see, if you're looking for the new Fortnite figures and you come across the one you want and it's in the grocery store, it's $15.50, which is the same price per figure as the SEAL team guys. And as far as I'm concerned, the Fortnite figures do not hold a candle quality-wise to the JoyToy figures. And especially for what I do, I do not like the cartooniness of the Fortnite figures. I do not like the female buck that they're using with the one shin guard. And I don't like the male buck that they're using. It's extremely cartoony. And if you're watching this, you know my customs, and that is not the type of custom that I make. The armored ones are fairly detailed, and I'm going to start working on a custom using one of those when I get home in a couple days. But man, I just don't have any use for the Fortnite figures, and I'm just amused that they're the same price per figure, basically, as the JoyToy figures. So the whole argument of these are expensive figures is really beginning to lose any traction or any ground in my mind. So is it worth it to get these figures? This particular figure that I'm reviewing, it's up to you. It depends on how much you like the style. I think to me it's worth it. I'm glad I broke down and got this one. It'll be a nice addition to my collection. I think that's about it for this video review. I did get some other JoyToy figures for Christmas, so maybe I'll do another review here. As always, thank you for watching. Please comment below. Please ask questions below. Share the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching.